If you're looking to buy a lake house in Michigan, you are going to want to watch this first. Hi, my name's Lorraine and I'm with the Glover Agency in Metro Detroit, and I work out of our Fenton office. And I love to make videos about Fenton, Grand Blanc, Davison, and everywhere around there so that my clients can make better decisions about where to purchase a home. And if you're into that kind of thing, be sure that you hit like and subscribe and stay to the end, because that will let YouTube know that you like us and you will get a notification every time we drop a new video. Michigan and lakes go hand in hand. As a matter of fact, in the state of Michigan, we're just completely surrounded by water. We're a peninsula surrounded by the Great Lakes. We have over 11,000 inland lakes in Michigan. And of that 11,000, we've got almost 400 in Oakland County and another 80 in Genesee County. So you really don't have to go too far to get wet or go fishing when it comes to Michigan. But there are a few things that you may not have thought about when purchasing a lake home. So the first thing that you need to consider when you're purchasing a lake home, it's going to be price. Because yes, lake homes cost more than homes that are not on a lake, but they also maintain their value. Lake homes in Michigan are extremely desirable, and everybody wants to be on a lake with a beautiful sunset. So you are going to pay a little bit more. For instance, if you're buying on Lake Fenton in Fenton, Michigan, your probably starting price is going to be close to $600, and it will go up into the millions from there. And of course, $600 is probably getting you the smallest and least updated home on the lake. So yeah, you'll pay more initially for your home, but on the flip side, when you go to sell it, you also will make more. And don't think that you can just jump onto Zillow and find out, what it'll cost me to get into a lake house, because you know what? Zillow can't answer that question. And the reason that it can is it's set up to take an average of properties in an area, and it can't differentiate between things like water frontage or not. So it will lump all of those homes in together. And if you're looking at lakefront homes, you really have to compare apples to apples. Another consideration, if you're considering purchasing a home on a lake, is what type of water and sewer do you have? Many lakefront properties do not have municipal water and sewer, so you would have a septic system and also a well perhaps. So you're going to want to have to get a couple extra inspections when you have your home inspection, and make sure that they check out that septic system, because those are very expensive to repair and replace. Not to mention that a really big mess in your yard. And you're also going to want to have your water tested for heavy metals and any contaminants, just to make sure that it's all good and clean. I know many people get water softeners and reverse osmosis systems to filter the water in their home. And that would be a really nice thing to have if you live on a lake. But if you do have a septic, you're going to have to deal with making sure that it's in working order. And you're also going to have it pumped periodically. And that really depends on how many people are in your house and how big your septic system is. Another thing that you're going to want to consider before you purchase a lake house is privacy. Oftentimes, lake homes are set very close together. The lots tend to be narrow. It's not unusual to be able to reach out and shake hands with your neighbor on their deck, but that's part of the lake living experience. Now, there are a few other properties probably on the lake with a lot more room, but you're going to pay a lot more cash for those as well. So it's all relative. But one of the things that happens whenever I show a lake house to somebody is they walk in, oh, look at these windows. They're so beautiful. I can't wait to watch sunset from them. And that's absolutely, you want to have that when you're looking. I mean, who wants to have a lake house and not be able to see the lake, right? But you got to remember that if you can see out, people can see in. And especially if it's dark out on the lake and you've got the lights on in your house, it's very easy to be seen in the home. So you're not going to be wanting to run around in your birthday suit, because you could be standing there looking at your beautiful sunset, and the guy out on the lake might be looking at your full moon at the same time. So that's something to keep in mind when you are going onto a lake. It's a whole different living situation. It's also not unusual when you live on a lake. You might, have company over or whatever sitting out on your deck, and you may have friends popping by all the time, all day long on a weekend, because they're out on the lake and they're looking for people to party with. Another thing to consider when you're purchasing a lake house or any house that's on the water is the elements. And in Michigan, those can be pretty tough. You have to consider that your home is sitting in front of a lake and there's no trees or buildings directly in front of you, shielding the wind, the weather, the snow, the hail, the sleet, the rain, and even the sunshine. So unless you have a lot of trees in the front of you, you're probably going to have a little more maintenance on your home. And that's not even talking about the seawall maintenance and the maintenance of your dock. True story, when I was growing up, we lived on a lake and we had the day off of school because of snow. And of course, the wind was just whipping across the lake. And my brother and I, we were probably 7 and 9 at the time, we decided that we're going to cross the street to go hang out with our friends across the lake. So we start trekking out across the lake and we walked and we walked and we walked. And it felt like you couldn't even get against the wind to get across the lake. And we finally looked back and we really weren't that far out onto the lake. And we were both exhausted from battling the wind and we just turned around and went back. And that was, I think, the first time I really realized how strong that wind can be coming across the lake. Another thing to consider when you're thinking about purchasing a lake home is that renters love lake homes. So let me explain. You certainly don't want to buy your dream lake home on a lot and on either side of you, you have 2 homes that are being Airbnb'd every single weekend of the summer. Because those people are on vacation, those people are there to have a good time, and unless you're a crazy party person too, you might not appreciate that. And even if you are a crazy party person, sometimes you just don't want to have to deal with all that kind of noise. So you might want to check out the ownership of the homes on either side of you, just to see if they are owned by individuals and occupied by them, or if they're renting them. Now, true that this is going to be a bigger deal the further north you go in Michigan, as most of the people who live on lakes in this area actually occupy the homes or are there every weekend at least. And on the flip side of that, if you are looking to purchase a home that can be rented, of course you're going to want to get one on the water because that's what it's all about in Michigan. But you want to make sure that you can use the home for the purpose that you wanted to use it for. And you need to check with the township, municipalities, as well as your HOA if you have one, to see if they have anything against any limitations on short-term rentals. Because it would be a shame to purchase a home specifically for that, only to find out that you can't use it the way that you want it. The next thing you're going to have to consider if you're wanting to purchase a lake home is noise. Yes, and this kind of goes in with the whole renter thing on the last one. You may have noise from people partying, you're going to have boats, jet skis, and what have you going by on the lake at all hours. And sound carries over water a lot. You could literally be sitting on your deck up in your home talking on the telephone, and it could probably be heard by somebody in a boat out on the lake in front of you. And that works the opposite way too. So when somebody's partying and screaming and doing all of that, you're going to hear that even if they're further away from you. The sound is going to carry. So that's something to think about. You're not going to wake up every single morning to swans floating in the water and crickets and birds singing, unless maybe you live on one of the canals or coves of the lake where it's not as busy. And Lake Fenton, for instance, is a pretty busy lake. So that's something you'll want to consider. And that isn't just limited to the summer months, because in the winter, you're probably going to have some ice fishers and snowmobilers out there as well. The next thing that you're going to want to check into before purchasing a lake house is your homeowner's insurance. Because not only are there more things that could actually damage your home because you are on a lake, but also many lakes are automatically in a flood zone. So you'll want to know if you're in that. And then you also want to know if you have enough liability insurance, because let's face it, anytime that you're on the water, there is a safety problem. Most lakefront communities do not allow any fences across the front between the home and the water. So if you've got little children, you're going to have to figure out a way to keep them safe. I know there's many parents that actually have locks on their deck so the kids can't leave and go down. They have rules like they have to wear their life jacket if they're in the yard, different things like that. But safety is paramount, and you want to talk with your insurance agent about what type of coverages you might need. The next item on our list is, how deep is the water? It's true, the more shallow the water, the muddier the lake, and some of Michigan's most beautiful lakes are extremely deep. So you're going to want to make sure that there is enough water for you to do what you were hoping to do, whether that would be kayaking, paddleboarding, or pulling skiers with your boat. You've got to have enough water to do so. My father lived in Florida on a canal off of a big lake, and I didn't know this for many years, but that lake is only 3 to 4 feet deep all the way across, and it's a great bass fishing lake. However, because it's such a large lake and it's shallow, when the wind kicks up, it gets super choppy and can easily capsize a fishing boat, which isn't generally a huge problem, except that lake is full of gators. So I don't think I would want to capsize my boat there. So that's my list of things that you might want to consider before purchasing a lake house in Michigan. And if you still think that you would like to purchase a home on a lake, reach out. You can get onto my Calendly schedule below and we can talk about it. Thanks for tuning in, and you have a great day.